So, in the interest of sharing my journey of moving on and recovering from a covert narcissist who has been in my life for the past 7 years, when I find interesting things on social media that are really accurate and that help me understand what I was dealing with in the situation that I was in, so that I don't think I'm crazy. Cuckoo, I'm not. I'm really not. And nor am I the narcissist he wanted to pretend that I was once I started trying to hold him accountable for his behavior. So anyway, let me share what this guy says, and then I'm going to share what my experience was relating to the words that he says here. So let's listen to this. This is interesting.
One thing that all male covert narcissists share is that they buckle under pressure, is that the weight of expectations looms over them and makes them highly resentful and highly lazy. Like just getting a male covert narcissist to take the trash out is actually more energy than you just doing it yourself. Like they have this exclamation of total exhaustion in doing the most basic things. And it's like they need to be celebrated for doing ordinary things that align with the basic responsibilities of whatever it is they supposedly committed to. And this just exhaustion, this lazy, they'll make these exclamations as if like you're pulling their teeth right out of their face, and it's trash day.
I'm not going to go through this guy's entire video here about this. I'm just going to take certain parts of it, but I encourage you to go to his profile and watch the content if this interests you. And of course, I'm going to credit him, down in the description so that you can get back there. The thing about the trash, it was a daily argument, and not just about trash. I mean, he would be in the kitchen cooking, and he could cook well, but he would make trash, like whether it was eggshells or crumpled up paper towel, and there would be a trash can sitting directly beside him, and he would put the trash on the counter. And I would say, why can't you just throw that in the trash? He'd get mad. I mean, it would be that sense of entitlement. Well, I mean, I cooked. And it was like by the act of cooking, he expected me. Anyway, I started to tell a story in another video about the sweeping and the mopping, and about how Michelle could not sweep and mop effectively, and he didn't know how to hold a broom, or he didn't know how to use a mop. And I got a little bit distracted and started talking about the situation that he grew up in with his mother and all that, and I never got back to the point that I was trying to make, and it was this exact thing right here. I would offer to show him how to do things better or easier. Work with your mind, not with your hands. How to do. And he would get so angry with me, and he would huff and puff and slam the broom down, and then he would sweep up the trash like he was sweeping it in the dustpan and just pile it up against the wall and walk off. And I'm like, I would ask, who do you think is going to clean that up? When you do that, who do you think's got to clean that up? The mess that you just made even bigger than it was to start with. Who is going to do this? And of course, this whole time I'm doing his laundry, and I'm trying to behave in this relationship like a normal person with a guy who doesn't think that he is supposed to have to lift a finger. And he would get so angry when I would suggest a change, or a constructive criticism about how he would do things, showing him how to hold a weed eater. He'd never used a string trimmer before. And I mean, just really out of proportion, angry when I would try to help him. And in the end, it would require more effort to ask him to help me than it would be to just do the stuff myself. And now I know that he understood that completely. He completely got that. And it was all on purpose, and he would do the things that he would do simply to force me to do it and shut up and leave him alone.
Nobody will betray you like a resentful, covert, cowardly, narcissistic dude, because they're so jealous, they're so envious, they're so entitled that they're actually paranoid. They project their own competitive hierarchical nature onto other people. And they often become conspiratorial in the workplace, meaning all the nasty thoughts in their head start to define other people, where they think they're the good person, and they always are paranoid, and they cannot handle any accountability. See, like, the expectations that these people, cannot live up to become the basis of their resentment. Because you see, the big problem is that you ever mistake one of these people for a real dude and they have any kind of skills, you try to work with them and they will become entitled and resentful, because any acknowledgement that anybody on the team gets, they think that they should get it because they need it. You see, their needs of narcissistic supply is an entitlement because it's always been necessary. And you see, they think it's necessary for everybody. And so they cannot distinguish acknowledgement and validation. And so, like, you could be really good at something and be really developed, but because these people have imposter syndrome and all their energy goes to validation seeking, they often don't really care about real results in reality. Their fear of failure stunts them so hard that if you take them out of their comfort zone, especially if you're somebody that's creative and you try to involve them in any kind of business venture, or they're supposed to do something as a third party, they are going to fail no matter what. And it is always going to be a pity party victim story, and they're going to be entitled to your resources, your money, your reputation. They're going to want to get revenge for their own failure. Like, they are a failure. Like, there's nobody that is a bigger failure than a male covert narcissist. I don't care if they appear successful. These people are always up to something shady.
I mean, is this not exactly what has just happened here between Michelle and me and the SRL, and then him trying to attack the investors for being crooks? And it's what I said. If you go back and you look at my recent videos, this is exactly what I've said, is that he's the one who's being shady, who's being unethical, and yet his thing was to try to come after me and try to come after all of the resources of the SRL and attack our investor in the process. I mean, he is textbook for this. He's 10 out of 10, ticks every box. And I am so sorry I didn't see these videos sooner. Would I have believed it if I had, though? I mean, there were still, and I guess this is true with every covert narcissist, there were still redeeming qualities about this man. Like, somewhere, I don't know if it's picked up in this or if it's in another part of the same video clip that I watched, but, he says they could learn. These people could be successful. There's no real reason other than themselves. They can't get out of their own way long enough to be successful. But, there was a time when I was writing and earning money as a ghostwriter, and I haven't done that anymore because you have to put your head in that game, and my head hadn't been in the game, and I couldn't put anything on, I couldn't get any words down. But I was making money from that. And do you know, he actually said something to me about that, about it wasn't right, that, or he resented, I forget exactly what it was, and I think it was spoken, so I don't have a screenshot, but he was mad. He was mad because I was earning money and he wasn't. And he didn't understand why I was earning money and getting credit for doing something well. And he wasn't. He actually said that out loud.
Nobody is more stunted intellectually than a male covert narcissist, because you see, they don't develop intellectually. They develop the ability to mask and look like an intellectual, but it's all empty words. You see, their knowledge has no experiential connection, and so they're very, very limited in terms of their imagination. That means that what they are good at is sounding interesting and intelligent. But it's like there's an emptiness because the fight or flight mechanism has all but eradicated their imaginations. I'm telling you, as somebody with a vast imagination, that these types of people don't have it. Now, they can develop skills, but you see, it's like the visual imagination is completely thwarted by their constant fears and the constant rumination, to the point where talking internal voices of the ego have essentially replaced their capacity to develop. And so, these are the people that are intellectual property thieves. These are the fake geniuses. These are the people that want all the credit, but they don't want to do the work. They'll get invested and involved with people specifically to sabotage them. Some of these people are pretty malicious in that they're going to get triggered at some point. At some point, accountability is going to enter the chat, and they're never going to deliver. Like, the problem with these people is that even if what it is that's expected of them is routine or simple, the fear of failure is going to absolutely paralyze them. And this paralysis is going to result in non-performance. This is going to result in excuses, victim mentality, projection, blame shifting, and all this stuff is going to happen inside their own imagination. And then they're going to move to sabotage you or steal from you or rip you off in some way to get revenge for things that never happened. They're paranoid, they're small-minded, they're ignorant, they're sabotaging, self-serving, and they are the worst, the absolute worst.
I'm not even going to bother putting my phone back on the stand. I'm just going to hold it and try to finish this really quickly. I know this video has gone really long, but oh man, oh man, oh man. Oh goodness, this explains everything. It's like this creator who I'm sharing here, it's like he knows Michelle. I've said so many times to Michelle that he doesn't have any imagination. He can't envision success. He can't envision anything that I've ever tried to tell him about this farm or the project or the nonprofit or anything. He can't see it in his mind. He can't. I thought it was autism. And it's still that is probably a compounding factor. I don't deny that he's got some of that going on too, but you take a genetically autistic child and you place him in a home where he's raised by codependent narcissists. His mother and his grandmother were, oh my God, what a mess. And you end up with everything that this creator that I'm sharing from describes. What really breaks my heart, what is so sad about all of this, is the overwhelming consensus that a covert narcissist cannot heal. That they can get therapy and they can work on stuff if they're motivated, but they're usually not. They have to see that they have a problem first. And to one of these people, like Michelle, they will never see that they're at the root of all of the problems and they're the cause of their own failures. As stated in this guy explained it so well. Why, Michelle has always been paralyzed. His fear of failure, he can't act, he can't do anything. And when he's pressed to perform in a normal way for success, he loses his mind, as evidenced by everything that just happened. But that's what's so sad, is that I guess I was always seeing what could have been in this man, and now I realize it's what can never be. And that is so That's something else I'm going to have to come to terms with, is that he can't be fixed. That he is so irretrievably broken. And that he's just going to jump from supply to supply to supply for the rest of his life. And oh, the people that are going to get damaged in the process. But that's not my problem. He's not my problem anymore. He's made that absolutely clear. So now I've just got to figure out how to get rid of him once and for all so that he can't continue to sabotage and train wreck the rest of my life. Ciao.